This is why the world needs DeSci. How would you feel if someone in your family that you loved was just outright murdered? Would you feel worse if the killer got away with it? What if the killer was a group of people, and that same group of people had billions of dollars and were able to kill thousands of more people, all while being shielded by the government? Sounds like the mafia, right? Well, you aren't far off. But this crime organization isn't the mafia. No, it's far worse. The mafia I'm talking about is called Purdue Pharma, and they worked hand in glove with the FDA to specifically sell poison to the American people for over 15 years. They did this all for money, and they did it by manipulating the scientific process to cover up their lies. The poison they created was called OxyContin, a drug so powerful and so addicting that it pushed out having a stroke to becoming the third leading cause of death in the United States. While justice is coming for the perpetrators, the broken scientific process that enabled them is still in disrepair. And it's getting worse day by day. Just last year, the entire premise for modern psychology to treat depression, specifically depression that comes from a chemical imbalance in the brain, was debunked due to the fact that the main supporting experiment could not be replicated. One foundational experiment only had 75 participants, nowhere near the threshold for scientific acceptance. It's obvious to everyone that there needs to be a major disruption in how science is done today, and thankfully that's happening in the form of blockchain. What Bitcoin is doing to money, DeSci is going to do to science. And just like Bitcoin, DeSci has a similar potential to change lives, not just by creating better science, but by getting in early on projects that have the most potential. You see, Bitcoin has increased in a value of 300,000%, depending on who you ask. And DeSci looks to have the same exact potential. Today, it's time to discover crypto. Decentralized science follows a few principles that come from the foundations of how science should work. First, keep it open, and second, keep it trustless. Seems simple, but putting scientific research, funding, authorship, and experiment results on the open ledger that can't be manipulated by markets completely makes a lot of sense for keeping science pure. And these projects are going to be doing just that. So if you're excited to see what very well could disrupt Big Pharma, be sure to smash that like button. Today we're gonna be talking about DeSci project. Now while DeSci is still in its infancy, there are already major players getting involved and invested in DeSci. VitaDAO is one of those projects that has established itself at the front runner of the space early on. VitaDAO is one of the leaders in decentralized science, as it's tackling the age-old problem of humans, of course, becoming an age-old problem, or just simply living longer. They want to cure aging, or at least extend people's healthy lifespans. So maybe when you're 90, you might still feel like you're 30. The societal and economic benefits of making aging less prone to illness would be bigger than the invention of antibiotics. It would be groundbreaking. Now, while VitaDAO isn't the only anti-aging game in town, there are billionaire tech bros and other Silicon Valley VCs going for the same goal. However, VitaDAO has caught on to something different with their integration of Web3 and science. It's so revolutionary, they caught the eyes of none other than Pfizer. In January 2023, we saw a massive investment of $500,000 into the new platform. VitaDAO aims to crowdfund research for the kind of drugs and procedures that are too niche for other companies to ever touch. Think of it like crowdfunding website for science projects, but instead of getting perks like signed DVDs, you get to live longer and more healthy. The Vita token plays an integral role in the operation of the VitaDAO and serves as governance and a means for staking or pledging to a project, which essentially serves as staking. With a max supply of 64 million and a heavy emphasis on staking the tokenomics, this project seems very good. Now next on my list of disruptors is going to be the team at MoleculeDAO, of a similar model to VitaDAO, but with a much different approach and bigger aspirations, mind you, than just aging. MoleculeDAO doesn't have a token. That's okay. MoleculeDAO is kind of like an OpenSea of DeSci, but with a funding element. You apply for a grant, and then once you are approved, your product gets minted as an intellectual property non-fungible token, or IP NFT. Now this is a huge breakthrough because this is a hybrid legal smart contract that gives researchers and funder clear rights about IP, research and development, and other details about funding. In layman's terms, the issue we see with big pharma companies is that scientists are completely owned by an institution. Whether it's a Pfizer or a Merck or a Johnson & Johnson, you name it, the scientists working underneath them have no legal rights to anything they create or develop. It doesn't matter if it's their scientific discovery or not. For all we know, they can find the cure for cancer, but because that disrupts the profits that these big pharma institutions are making off the drugs they're providing that is killing people in the open world, we may never know. And that scientists will never be able to do anything or say anything about it legally. So this kind of clarity is unheard of in the research world. And that's why projects of all sizes are flocking to MoleculeDAO to get with the right partners for their work. There are a handful of projects to get involved with right now. And as of recording, there is no token to be launched for Molecule. Instead, each project on MoleculeDAO serves as their own token. Now, on a side note, VitaDAO and Molecule both use the Gnosis Ethereum Layer 2. Use that information as needed. Now, another project, GenomesDAO, is doing something that makes so much sense, it's kind of crazy no one has done this before. The premise is simple. You own your biometric data, specifically your DNA data. If you choose to make it available for research, then you get compensated. It's that simple. All those folks who paid to give away their DNA data to Ancestry.com or 23andMe got screwed. And GenomesDAO is aiming to fix that and empower more people to control and to be enriched for work done with their own DNA. Don't just earn money with crypto, earn money from your DNA. But GenomesDAO isn't just a way to monetize your double helix. It alleviates a lot of regulatory hassle that big companies are running into in regarding the rights to ownership of biometric data. You see, these elitist giants and globalists and pharmaceutical companies believe they have the right to control each and every single strand of your own DNA. And Gene is here to break away from a lot of those problems. Now, essentially, this will actually make big companies more comfortable because they won't have to secure and store your data. And that's the beauty of blockchain. Web3 is about owning your own data, and GenomesDAO is definitely taking that concept and running with it. Now, specifically, I do want to know more about how GenomesDAO is keeping their DNA data secure on a ZK rollup with Polygon. I'll actually be interviewing them and finding out a lot more about the project here very soon. Either way, DeSci can do a lot to help the world and change the lives of not just crypto investors, but of literally everyone. You see, while this is an emerging industry, there's already dozens of projects being created. Whether it's space biosciences, which is literally cancer therapeutics in space for radiation damage on your skin, in space travel, which is what we need to learn about if we ever want to go to Mars. I know. So it's a lot to process, but this is the beauty of DeSci. This is something that actually drives a ton of utility to crypto. So leave a comment and tell me what projects you think I should look into next time, because DeSci is just getting started. And while you shouldn't fall into the FOMO because CZ tweets out the word biotech and pumps every project, this is a part of the industry that you do not want to miss. We're about to approach singularity with AGIX. You know what that means? That means people like Sam Altman, which I know we cannot trust, are the ones that get to decide what information is fed into all of these robots and artificial intelligence they create. And they're closed source. We have no idea what they're feeding into these things. And they're all controlled by Microsoft and big tech. AI, science, decentralization, these all go together. And if you're ready to learn about the true value of not only crypto, but decentralized science and the future of artificial intelligence, make sure you turn on those notifications because you're about to see things you've never seen on any other channel. See you at the top.